Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 6 of PGIM India Mutual Fund Presents Live Mains Amend Adjust Adapt. This has been a series of high-powered panel discussions where we unravel many of the success mantras for the new normal in a post-COVID world. We've looked at various issues from leadership to what needs to be done. Today, we're going to look a little bit in the future. India at 2030. Yes, this pandemic has struck us, but 10 years later, will India have recovered? Will India be a global power? Will India have solved many of the issues that we are dealing with so much? So that's what we're going to try and address. I'm Vikram Chandra, founder of Editorji, and we're going to be looking at India at 2030, ready to break out. What is it that India needs to do to be a leader? Um, Rahul, when you're looking at India today and we are trying to forecast out a little bit till 2030, how do you see the landscape? Are you bearish, bullish, fantastic things are going to happen, terrible things are going to happen? What's your overall sense?
I think, I'm going to repeat something that a lot of people have said before me, and that India has a way of disappointing all the optimists and confounding all the pessimists. And I think we're in that middle zone. And at the moment, what it looks like to me is that we will stay there. We've gone through some cycles. We went through, after the global financial crisis in 2008, I think the policy mix that was chosen was one of, having very loose monetary and loose fiscal policies. There was overspending, poor capital allocation. I think the governance architecture in our banking system also broke down. Whether it was made to break down or not is, I guess, a political question. But the result is that it broke down. There was a lot of leakage of capital. And therefore, trying to fix that and come out of that has taken us quite a while to restructure the banking system. Essentially, if you think about M3 to GDP, nominal GDP, I think right from 2012, 2013 has been in a secular decline. And there is no way that growth will not slow down if that happens. So one can sort of make noise about anything else, but that's, to my mind, been the driving feature as to why growth has been muted relative to the previous 4 or 5 years where you had loose fiscal and loose monetary policies. But I think they've, because of this kind of slowdown, and there's been actually a lot of structural improvements, structural changes which have happened. Last but not least is probably the ones on the agricultural side, where agricultural markets have actually for the first time been freed up. And I think that the cumulative effect of a lot of these structural changes is going to show up in terms of higher sustainable growth and better factor productivity going forward. So I'm hopeful. There are issues which have not been addressed in our economy for the longest time. I think one of the big ones is actually reforms of our state administration and bureaucracy. One of the cabinet ministers, Nitin Gadkari, made a speech recently on the inauguration of a building at NHAI, and I think for the first time I'm seeing a cabinet minister address the elephant in the room, which to my mind has gone unaddressed for a long, long time. And it's obviously something which is very difficult for any government in power to do, because right from Narasimha Rao, every prime minister who has come into power has in the early stages talked about bureaucratic reform, but we've never seen it actually fructify. Right? Even the Modi government talked about bringing, 1/3 of the seniors in government from outside, from the private sector, but it was clearly frustrated by the established powers that exist, because I think they managed to get in only 4 or 6 people. And I think the reason why I say that that's the biggest structural bottleneck is I'll share one piece of data with you, which is people. The average delay in irrigation projects in India, that means the median delay of irrigation projects in India since independence has been 30 years, right? Not 3 months, not 30 days, not 3 years, but 30 years is the median delay.
You, of course, are right up there when it comes to being a global asset manager. If you had to look at various parts of the Indian economy, I know what you're saying, some of the areas where you could invest for the future, but if you had to look at the Indian economy today and you were to say, this is where I would like to invest my money, where would that be? Would it be IT? Would it be healthcare? Would it be infrastructure? Where?
Let me answer the question in the negative, right? Roughly 32% of our economy is controlled by the central government, the state governments, and the PSUs. I would not invest into the value chain which is driven and run by that ecosystem because I am powerless. They have all the power, they have all the authority. And really, what our experience and what we've seen, the private sector does not do well in that ecosystem, especially anyone in the private sector who plays by the rules. Right? I think the rest of the economy, to my mind, is fair game, and there is ample opportunity everywhere else for anybody in the private sector to play in. And it's really about productivity. It's about you know driving the experience curve, lowering your unit costs, and expanding your market. And that's a broad strategy which works across sectors in India.